If you've ever struggled with hydrangeas wilting or not blooming, you're likely making one of these four common but often ignored mistakes. And trust me, you've probably heard about them before, but today I'll show you what everyone misses. First up, I'm going to talk about something simple yet crucial, something that might seem obvious but is often overlooked. The next mistake is one that many gardeners think they're doing right, but it's actually causing more harm than good. The third mistake, oh, it's a game changer, and I bet you haven't thought about it in this way before. And stay tuned for the last one because honestly, this could be the reason your hydrangeas aren't flourishing like you've always hoped. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. So, let's dive in and take a closer look at these often overlooked pitfalls. And I'll show you exactly how to avoid them because once you know these, your hydrangeas will thrive like never before. Hey there, I'm Richard, and I've helped thousands of gardeners take their plants from average to spectacular. With years of experience in the gardening world, I've seen firsthand how simple mistakes can hold back even the most eager gardeners, especially when it comes to hydrangeas. Today I'm diving into the top 4 mistakes gardeners make when planting hydrangeas, mistakes that they don't often hear about but can drastically impact your plant's growth and health. Why should you stick around for the whole video? Well, by the end you'll not only know how to avoid these common pitfalls, but you'll also have a better understanding of the key steps that'll take your hydrangeas to the next level. Imagine vibrant blooms, strong stems, and a garden full of hydrangeas that become the centerpiece of your outdoor space. And here's the best part. Stick around till the end and I'll share a game-changing tip that could make your hydrangeas the envy of your neighborhood. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. This could be the missing link between your garden looking just good and looking amazing. So grab a notebook, settle in, and let's transform your hydrangea game. Alright, let's set the stage for what's coming. We're going to talk about the 4 critical mistakes that could be holding your hydrangeas back from their full potential. First, we'll dive into where you're planting them because location really matters. Next up, we'll discuss your watering habits. Are you overwatering or underwatering without even knowing it? Then we'll cover pruning errors because trimming at the wrong time or in the wrong way can do more harm than good. And finally, the one most gardeners overlook entirely, the soil. It's the foundation for healthy hydrangeas, but what you don't know about your soil might be preventing your plants from thriving. But here's the kicker. I'm not just going to go over the basics. Oh no, this is where it gets interesting. I'll reveal what no one else is telling you about these common mistakes, and once you learn these insider secrets, you'll have the confidence to get your hydrangeas blooming like never before. So stick with me, because we're about to dig deeper into these mistakes and I promise you'll see your hydrangeas in a whole new light. Mistake 1. Planting your hydrangeas in a spot that seems perfect but isn't. Now here's a mistake many gardeners make without even realizing. They think hydrangeas absolutely love full sun. And honestly, it's an easy assumption to make. But let me tell you, this is a huge mistake. While hydrangeas do need some sunlight to grow, the reality is that they thrive in dappled sunlight, especially in the afternoon. Too much sun can actually stress them out and stunt their growth. It's like you're asking them to work overtime under the heat, and that's when they start showing signs of heat stress, like wilting and fewer blooms, especially during those hot summer months. Here's the thing most people miss. Those intense midday sun rays, they're not your hydrangea's friend. They can quickly dry out the soil, which leads to the roots not getting the moisture they need. So what's the solution? To get the best out of your hydrangeas, look for a spot in your garden that gets plenty of morning sun, but then moves into afternoon shade. Hydrangeas love that balance of light and shade, and that's where they truly thrive. If you can find a location that has filtered light through trees or near a fence where the sun doesn't hit all day, you're going to see your hydrangeas respond with vibrant blooms and healthy growth. Now let me show you an example. Notice the difference between a hydrangea planted in full sun versus one in dappled light. See how the one in full sun looks a little stressed with curled leaves and fewer flowers, but the one in dappled light, it's lush green and full of vibrant bloom. It's subtle, but it makes a world of difference for your plant's health. So next time you're deciding where to plant your hydrangeas, remember, it's not just about finding a sunny spot, it's about finding the right balance of light that will help them flourish. Mistake 2. Overwatering or underwatering. It's easy to think you're helping your plant, but this can be a death sentence. Now let's talk about watering, because this is a tricky one. Many gardeners think that more water equals better growth, but that's not always the case. Hydrangeas are very picky about their water. They don't like to be soggy, but they also can't stand long dry spells. It's a delicate balance, and here's the twist most people don't pay attention to. It's not just about how often you water, it's about the consistency of the soil. You see, if your soil drains too quickly, it won't hold enough moisture for the hydrangea's roots. On the other hand, if the soil holds on to too much water, your hydrangeas can end up sitting in a soggy mess, which can lead to root rot. Neither of these conditions are good for your plant. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Here we've got two types of soil. One is well drained, and the other is compacted, holding on to too much water. I'm going to pour some water on both, and you'll see the difference in how the water moves. Notice how the well-drained soil allows water to seep through easily, while the soggy soil just holds on to all the moisture. This is what happens when your hydrangeas are planted in the wrong type of soil. It's crucial to make sure your soil is well drained, but still able to hold some moisture for your plants. Now here's a simple pro tip to make sure you're watering correctly. Try the finger test. Stick your finger about 2 inches into the soil. Don't just check the surface. If it feels dry at that depth, it's time to water. If it feels wet, hold off for a few days. This simple test will help you avoid overwatering or underwatering your hydrangeas, making sure they get the right amount of hydration. Remember, it's not about watering more often, it's about watering correctly, in soil that supports the right moisture balance. That's the secret to a happy hydrangea. Mistake 3. Pruning at the wrong time or in the wrong way. Pruning, it's something that many gardeners do to keep their plants neat and healthy, but when it comes to hydrangeas, timing is everything. What most people don't realize is that hydrangeas bloom on different types of wood, depending on the variety. This means that pruning at the wrong time can actually cut off next season's blooms, even if you think you're doing everything right. This is a fresh perspective that's crucial to understand. Let me break it down for you. Hydrangeas can be divided into two main categories: those that bloom on old wood and those that bloom on new wood. What does this mean? Well, hydrangeas that bloom on old wood, like many mophead varieties, set their flower buds the year before they bloom. So if you prune them too early, like in late winter or early spring, you'll be cutting off the buds that would have become next season's flowers. That's a mistake that can leave you with far fewer blooms, or even none at all. On the other hand, hydrangeas that bloom on new wood, like paniculata's, don't set their flower buds until later in the season, so you can safely prune them in late winter or early spring, without worrying about cutting off any blooms. Let me show you a few different hydrangea. Notice how the mophead variety blooms on old wood and needs to be pruned right after it finishes blooming. Meanwhile, the paniculata blooms on new wood, so it can be pruned in late winter without affecting the next season's flowers. This simple understanding of which wood your hydrangea blooms on will help you prune at the perfect time and ensure you get those beautiful blooms year after year. For hydrangeas that bloom on old wood, prune them right after they finish blooming, usually late summer or early fall, so you don't accidentally cut off next year's buds. For hydrangeas that bloom on new wood, you can wait until late winter or early spring to prune. The key here is understanding your variety and knowing when to prune to keep those blooms coming. Mistake 4. Using the wrong soil, or worse, not checking your soil at all. Now we're at the final mistake, and this one is a game changer. Many gardeners simply don't give enough attention to the soil when it comes to hydrangeas. They assume that as long as the plant gets enough water and sunlight, it's good to go. But here's the thing. Hydrangeas are notoriously picky about their soil's pH, and this is one of the most overlooked factors when it comes to keeping them healthy. What most gardeners don't realize is that if your hydrangea's leaves are yellowing, it's not always a nutrient deficiency. It could be because the pH of your soil is off. Hydrangeas in alkaline soil, meaning soil that's too basic, are prone to a condition called chlorosis. This is when the leaves turn yellow, even if the plant has plenty of nutrients. So it's not just about how rich your soil is, it's about whether the pH is in the right range for your hydrangea to absorb those nutrients effectively. Let me show you how to test your soil's pH. Here I'm using a simple soil pH testing kit. You can easily find one online or at your local garden store. Testing is simple. You just need a small sample of soil and the kit will tell you whether your soil is acidic, neutral, or alkaline. For hydrangeas, the ideal pH is typically slightly acidic, around 5.5 to 6.5. If your soil is too alkaline or too acidic, that's going to affect your hydrangea's ability to thrive. Now here's the fun part. You can actually adjust your hydrangea's soil pH to get the results you want. Want your flowers to be a vibrant pink? Increase the soil's pH by adding lime. Want them to turn that stunning blue? Lower the pH by using aluminum sulfate. This simple adjustment will give you more control over the look of your hydrangeas and help your plants stay healthy at the same time. Before you plant or make any changes to your soil, always check the pH. It's a simple step that can make a huge difference in the long-term health and beauty of your hydrangeas. Mulch. Now here's a tip that many gardeners overlook, but it can really make a difference, especially when it comes to protecting your hydrangeas in the winter. While most people know that mulch helps retain moisture, what's not as widely talked about is how crucial it is for winter protection. Mulch acts like an insulator, protecting your hydrangea's roots from freezing temperatures. If you live in a colder climate, a good layer of mulch can prevent freeze damage and give your plants a better chance to survive the winter months. Just one thing to keep in mind: while mulch is great for insulation, be careful not to bury the stem of your hydrangea too deeply. Too much mulch around the base can actually cause rot or encourage pests, so just a few inches around the roots is all you need. Now let's recap everything we've covered today, so you can be sure you're setting your hydrangeas up for success. First, make sure you're choosing the right spot for your hydrangeas. They need dappled sunlight, not full sun, so be strategic about where you plant them. Second, don't fall into the trap of overwatering or underwatering. The consistency of your soil is just as important as the amount of water you give them. Third, prune at the right time. Know whether your hydrangeas bloom on old or new wood, and make sure you're pruning at the right moment to avoid cutting off next season's blooms. And finally, pay close attention to your soil's pH. If the pH is off, your hydrangea may struggle, no matter how much you water or fertilize it. Do these things right, and I guarantee you'll see your hydrangeas bloom like never before. With just a little extra care and attention, you'll be rewarded with vibrant, healthy plants that will become the highlight of your garden. Happy gardening, and don't forget to check your soil. If you learned something new today, hit that like button and share this with a fellow gardener who could really use these tips. Hydrangeas can be tricky, but with the right knowledge we can all get them to thrive. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. What's your biggest hydrangea challenge? I'd love to hear your stories, and maybe I can help you tackle that next. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more gardening tips like these. I've got plenty more where this came from, so if you want to dive deeper into hydrangea care or learn about other plants in your garden, just click that subscribe button. You can also check out my other videos on hydrangea care by clicking here. Trust me, you won't want to miss them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep those hydrangeas healthy and happy.